Market action now, a 490 crore rupee initial public offering of digital public infrastructure provider Protean eGov Technologies has opened for subscription today. It's open today and it will close on the 8th. 490 crore, it's entirely an offer for sale and the price band has been set at 752 to 792 crore rupees. To talk about the way forward, Suresh Sethi, the MD and CEO, Protean eGov Technologies, is with us on the show. Suresh, thank you very much for joining in. First, explain what the company does. Your RHP reads you are an chief architect and implementer of digital public infrastructure, which includes PAN, tax filing, etc., NPS, National Pension Scheme. But break up the business model for you, what you do.
So as a company, we are an ITES product solution and services company. Our larger thrust right from the outset has been to contribute towards building the digital public infrastructure. So this is towards making the digital India. So we started a journey way back as the first central securities depository, but then diversified into multiple e-governance areas, taxation, pension, social security, similarly providing ID services. These are some of our largest businesses. So today
let's talk about each of them, right?
Sure.
PAN card, for instance. What percentage of your revenue comes in from PAN card? What do you do for a PAN card service provider? Even go on to talk about tax filing, NPS, and the various other digital public infrastructure schemes that you are operating.
So while the tax business is a mandate we received from the IT department, and under that business, we provide the entire PAN issuance service. So anybody applying for a new PAN card or seeking any change in their demographic data on the PAN or requesting for a reprint. So it's a transactional model. We earn the revenues from the consumers, whoever is applying for a PAN card. And there's another part attached to it where we maintain the entire PAN database for the nation. And on that, we provide services to the BFSI sector, because whenever you're opening a bank account, for example, or you are doing a capital markets transaction at a high value or a property transaction, these institutions then ping into our database for a validation service. So each of these services, it's a B2B model, you earn on that. National Pension Scheme, as I mentioned, that is something we again got a mandate. We won an RFP way back in 2009 and set up the first central record keeping agency for the National Pension Scheme. And today we are the largest CRA in the country. The same central record keeping agency was again the infrastructure was used for hosting the Atal Pension Yojana, which is the flagship scheme for the economically weaker sections. And today we have almost a 98% market share under the NPS business and 100% market share under Atal Pension Yojana.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you're really the data backbone for a lot of the big flagship schemes of the country and also, of course, tax filing itself. So just to go back, your revenue last year was around 740 odd crores. How much of this comes from the taxation services? And as you mentioned, there is a transaction part involved. If I want to go and update my details on the portal, then there's a transaction fee and you earn from that. What is the model when it comes to the B2B business? When someone is, an institution wants to do a KYC and that query then hits your database, because that's where the PAN data is lying, right?
Absolutely.
So how does it, what's the revenue contribution and how does it work?
So taxation is a large part of our revenue contribution. It's around 60% of our top line. And as I said, it's a completely transactional model over there. So any transaction, when you're doing a query, any query on the database will have a charge to it. And when it's a B2C model, so our model today is all B2B, B2C, and B2G also. Right? Because under the National Pension Scheme, we have also subscribers from the central and state government. And that is where the government pays us a fee for them. And likewise, corporate do it wherever the corporates have a National Pension Scheme adoption. And then individuals, both Atal Pension Yojana.
So 60% is associated with tax filing.
That's right.
What about the balance 40%?
The NPS and...
So NPS, rather the CRA business is accounting for another 30%.
Which business?
30%, the CRA business.
The central record keeping.
Yes, that's right.
For PAN card?
No, central record keeping for National Pension Scheme
and for the Atal Pension Yojana. So explain to us, the entire business is sort of in terms of revenue and billing, as you mentioned, it's transaction based. Whenever a query is coming, whether it's from an individual like me or a state government or a financial institution, querying your database to ask for, KYC information, how frequently are these transaction rates set? Are they renegotiated every couple of years? And how does that work? I'm just trying to understand the nuts and bolts of how the revenue flows in.
So as the build-up happens on the business, ultimately we are maintaining the entire infrastructure on which you are hosting the data. And therefore, we have a point of time where we do go back for price revision. And that is a point of time you reset the pricing. This happens every 4 to 5 years, but that is largely under the taxation business. In the pension business, we have a perpetual license. We run the business on a license basis from the pension regulator. It's a 3-player market. We have a majority of the market share. And over there, it's again a pricing which, while the regulator has an oversight, as a free market player with 3 players in the market, we set our own pricing parameters over there.
Okay, so Suresh, how much do you usually see your transactions go up every year? I'm just trying to get a sense of what the growth looks like across businesses. How much of a jump is there in just the transaction volumes every year?
So the transaction volumes have a pretty steep driver growth over there, because if we see the PAN issuance, again, PAN is an ID which is not a saturation ID, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, when the child is born, you actually go for an Aadhaar card, but PAN only happens when you're actually opening your first bank account or you're actually, getting to work. So PAN today, there's only 68 crore PAN cards issued in our country till date. With a young demographic population, looking at the track record over the last few years, industry growth is there. We are expecting 6 to 7 crore PANs to be issued every year going forward.
And what's your market share? I think there's one major competitor that you have in the taxation PAN space. What's your market share?
So on a cumulative basis, till date, around 68 crore PANs are issued. So we have a 66% market share in that space.
Okay. What about margins? How do margins for your company increase from here on?
So the current businesses are naturally stable. They have a headroom for growth. We continuously seeing with the Digital India mission, everything is going to be consumed more. There's one more business I would like to add, which we didn't speak about. It's the ID services we offer on top of the Aadhaar stack. So the complete authentication and KYC services we offer as a service agency to UIDAI.
Okay.
And there we enable the entire BFSI ecosystem, whether it is for a digital account opening, whether it is for authentication of a transaction. Again, we become the pipe which leads into the Aadhaar database. So that is another portion of our business. And that again goes very closely with the Digital India Trust. And now we are getting into multi-sectoral new digital ecosystems. As part of the government policy, there is a thrust to get national open digital ecosystems across multiple sectors of economy. So we are today powering ecosystems in the space of digital commerce, mobility, agriculture, health, education. So these are again at a fundamental level where you are powering the infrastructure, and likewise we are building consumer and corporate tech for corporates and consumers to build applications to adopt these services.
And you have plans to go global as well, right?
Yes.
But unfortunately, Suresh, we're really out of time. But we look forward to chatting more with you, and have a bumper.
Thank you so much.
Subscription for this company. That's Suresh Sethi for you from Protean eGov Technology.